Coming up at 6 o'clock, San Jose charging forward with plans to transform a park near the airport, and that means it will need to kick out dozens of people living there in RVs.
You know, as long as we're not bothering anybody or causing any problem or property damage.
We'll hear from unhoused people who now have months to find a new place to live, and why the city said the action is long overdue.
It's not right, and government has to do better.
Plus, a judge slams the brakes on plans to cut academic programs at Sonoma State, but not for sports. How people on campus are reacting to the ruling.
It's a hopeful sign, but I don't know how much it's going to do.
It's election day in Oakland. We check in one last time with the frontrunners to be the next mayor. Plus, UC Davis researchers are calling it a miracle.
It's absolutely wicked, yeah.
How decades of restoration efforts are helping salmon make a comeback in one Northern California creek. And later, we take the temperature of Dub Nation.
Steph's hand is messed up. Jimmy's now messed up his leg.
As the Warriors get ready for their play-in tournament showdown against the Grizzlies.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. San Jose leaders want to revitalize a park that has been a popular place for unhoused people to settle with their RVs. The city council just voted unanimously to approve a plan to redevelop Columbus Park. It's a roughly 10-acre park just south of San Jose Mineta Airport. The park already has baseball fields and basketball courts, but they've been shut down for years. It was just a couple years ago the FAA ordered the city to clear out encampments in the area because they were in a flight path. But it didn't take long for the RVs to come back, and people living there now told our Katie Nielsen they're not sure where they'll end up if the city follows through with its plan.
This is the current state of Columbus Park. It's about 10 acres in total, and it's basically unusable. The entire space is filled with RVs and cars, the vehicles of unhoused residents who say they're just trying to find a place to live.
Right here. This is where I sleep at, right here. And the dog park's right across the street.
Kathy Davis is one of dozens of people living at Columbus Park. She's been here for the last 6 years, much like Kat, who moved to the park when they were all forced to leave the airport property just a block away.
You know, as long as we're not bothering anybody or causing any problem or property damage or anything like that, I think that as an American we should be allowed to do that. But I also understand there's businesses. I also understand there's, you know, there's things that go with that, and that we just can't do whatever we want, wherever we want.
The city of San Jose has already passed a temporary ban on RV parking on certain streets in the city. So residents say the park was one of the only places they could go where they weren't being harassed. But San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan says this isn't the solution.
We have a responsibility to ensure that our parkland is accessible to everyone.
Today, the council was discussing a $24 million investment into Columbus Park to add pickleball and horseshoe courts, plus adult and kids soccer fields. To do that, all of the unhoused residents currently at the park would be forced out.
To basically abandon a space and allow it to become an unmanaged, unsafe encampment in perpetuity right on land that was once a baseball diamond or a basketball court for kids in a low-income neighborhood is unfair. It's not right, and government has to do better.
But residents here say picking up and moving just isn't that easy.
If you haven't lived this life, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at it from a weird perspective.
As for the residents here, they won't be forced to leave until closer to the end of the year. The city plans to start construction on the renovations at the beginning of 2026.
The city of San Jose is already making major investments in other safe parking sites like Berryessa and is opening tiny home villages for unhoused residents. On to developing story now. A new twist in the saga over cuts at Sonoma State. A judge has issued a temporary restraining order against the university, halting its plans to close academic departments. Our Devin Feely joins us to break down what this all means.
Yeah, Juliette, the order is a response to an emergency petition by Sonoma State's student athletes who wanted to stop the school from making cuts to the athletic department. However, the judge's ruling only addressed the cuts to the academic departments, not the athletic program. The plaintiffs in this hearing argued that the university failed to follow its own regulations when closing the academic programs. Back in January, Sonoma State announced the cuts to close nearly 24 $24 million in a deficit. That included cutting 6 academic departments, eliminating 22 majors, and just ending the athletic program altogether. The cut sparked protests and legal actions on campus, and today some students celebrated the judge's ruling while others question if it goes far enough.
I think that that's good because it really was like a quick switch that was happening, and not a lot of people got a lot of time to process what was going on. So I think any delay is really helpful for teachers and students.
In general, the restraining order only goes until May 1st, so how is that really helpful at this point? I think it's a hopeful sign, but I don't know how much it's going to do.
The university's interim president, also the chancellor, and the California State University Board of Trustees were also named in that lawsuit. We did reach out to Sonoma State for comment, but have not heard back yet. The temporary restraining order will last until the next hearing that is scheduled for May 1st. Jules?
All right, Devin, thank you. We'll continue to stay on top of it. Oakland residents have less than 2 hours left to cast their vote in the special election that will decide the city's next mayor. The frontrunners on the ballot: former city council member Lauren Taylor and former U.S. Representative Barbara Lee. Taylor has racked up endorsements from various Oakland business leaders and San Jose's mayor. Meanwhile, Lee is backed by labor and political groups, including the Alameda County Democratic Party. Both candidates say public safety is their top campaign issue.
I've been watching the stretch of foothill that I drive for 26 years deteriorate.
I feel like Barbara Lee's approach to crime is the right approach. She is going to get more police officers on the ground, but she is going to also partner with community organizations.
We'll be covering the results as they come in from the candidates' watch parties tonight. Kevin Coe is following Lauren Taylor's campaign.
Lauren Taylor will be watching tonight's election results here in downtown Oakland with a group of his supporters and his campaign team. Taylor spent this morning casting his vote before knocking on doors and making last-minute phone calls to sway voters. He served on the Oakland City Council from 2019 to 2023. He lost by 0.6% in the 2022 mayoral race to Sheng Tao.
Here we are again, but here for the same reasons, to make sure that Oakland moves the right direction and that Oaklanders are supported, getting the resources being prioritized. That's what this is about.
Taylor is banking on his message that Oakland City Hall needs a serious cleanup from a leader outside the political establishment. He is expected to speak tonight after the initial results are released at 8 p.m.
Meanwhile, Barbara Lee already cast her ballot on Friday at her church on Fontaine Street. She did not have any public campaign events today. She says on top of public safety, her top priorities include affordable housing, homelessness, and economic development. Speaking with us last week, Lee addressed critics that say she is an establishment candidate.
Those who say that I'm part of the establishment, they don't understand what cooperation, building coalitions, they don't understand what you need to do to bring people together to solve problems and how to build consensus.
Or Kelsey Thorud will be at Lee's watch party tonight in Oakland. In addition to the mayoral race, Oakland voters in District 2 will be choosing a new city council member, and voters across the city are deciding on a measure to raise the sales tax by a half cent. So polls close at 8 p.m. Stay with us for real-time results on the CBS News app and KPIX.com. Oakland's budget deficit will be one of the key issues inherited by the city's new mayor that could get more complicated after the sale of the Oakland Coliseum has now been pushed back to later next year. So city leaders plan to finalize the $125 million sale of their Coliseum stake by the end of June 2026. That's the same time the county closes a deal to sell its own half of the property. It is a more conservative timeline, and the group buying the Coliseum says they remain committed to this sale. Under former Mayor Sheng Tao, the city pushed to fast-track the land sale to use the money to help plug a budget deficit. Meanwhile, drivers on the Bay Bridge are still having a tough time getting to the East Bay after a car fire erupted hours ago. So check out this video. This is from Citizen app. You can see the flames and black smoke from inside the bridge, and then there you go. The fire forced 4 lanes to close, and those are crews working to clear the roadway. Lanes were reopened around 3 o'clock this afternoon, but the backup has not cleared up. Still ahead here at 6, salmon spawning in a Northern California creek bed. where they have almost never seen it before. We're going to introduce you to a member of the research team that helped lead the cleanup.
This place has come a long way since it was used as a town dump. It can absolutely turn around for the better.
Plus, the DMV break-in yesterday in Oakland is now a long-term problem when the city expects that office to finally reopen. We're now learning the Oakland Coliseum DMV could be closed for 4 to 5 months because of damage. So we told you yesterday how thieves broke in over the weekend and then ripped out copper wire from the HVAC system, causing major flooding inside the building. The damage will cost thousands to repair. Not an ideal time as next month's Real ID deadline is approaching, and nearby DMV offices are already seeing longer wait times. Commercial salmon fishing in California will be closed for a record third straight year after state regulators found dwindling numbers of fish. Regulators blame a number of climate-related issues for the reduced number of salmon, including severe wildfires and years-long drought, while others blame state and federal water management policies for making it tough for the salmon to survive. Regulators also voted to limit commercial salmon fishing in Oregon. But the good news, there is at least one spot where salmon are starting to make a comeback. We're talking about the Puda Creek up in Lake County. So take a look. Here's Puda Creek. It's the blue line we've marked. The 85-mile waterway. It starts near the base of Cobb Mountain. It flows into Lake Berryessa and then out east into Yolo County, right through the UC Davis campus before ending just outside Sacramento. But we want to focus on that small fork at UC Davis. Over the past 25 years, a combination of researchers, state workers, and volunteers have been cleaning up the creek. Brian Hackney shows us how the efforts are paying off, especially for salmon.
When the Monticello Dam at Lake Berryessa went up, the population of wildlife in the creek that flowed from it went down. Way down. And then, a near miracle.
My name is Lauren Hitt. I'm a graduate student researcher. I work on rivers just like Puda Creek Riparian Reserve, and I study fish biology.
We're heading out onto Puda Creek near UC Davis.
All right, paddle on the right side. All right, I might pivot us a little bit. We're getting a bit close to the bank on that side. Yep.
This is where Lauren and her team made a jaw-dropping discovery.
Yeah, it's really special.
See, the dam had dramatically reduced freshwater flows into the creek.
And since salmon and other fish need constant flows of cold water, they weren't able to survive.
The creek was a neglected dumping ground for decades, moldering in the hot sun, until environmentalists sued to restore it to a more pristine state. And then, slowly, the miracle happened.
It's absolutely wicked, yeah.
Salmon were spotted in the creek for the first time ever. But salmon had never been spotted in the creek before. So now, mystery on top of miracle. Where on earth did the salmon come from?
We were unsure, and the way that we tested this was a bit surprising.
The answer was found at UC Davis under a microscope, examining salmon ear bones.
Yeah, fish ear bones? Do fish even have ears? It's absolutely crazy.
The size of a fingernail, the bones are called otoliths, and they are special.
I've got otolith earrings and an otolith necklace on there. Yeah, these tiny little bones have just so much information that scientists can use.
They're like tree rings.
Exactly.
Each layer of bone essentially carries a chemical map of where each salmon has spent its life.
When they were born, when they started their migration out to the sea, how long they were in the ocean for, and when they came back in for their migrations.
So from the ear bones of dead fish, Lauren's team discovered that most of the salmon began life in some distant hatchery, but ended it by spawning in a newly restored creek.
Oh, There's a river otter up ahead. Yeah.
Cool. And that's not all.
Oh, there's some turtles on that branch over there. Yeah, there they are. There weren't salmon here, nor were there river otters or beavers or great blue herons or breeding songbirds. All sorts of special wildlife have only been able to use this ecosystem because of restoration efforts.
Proof indeed that if you restore it, they will come.
Salmon here, yeah, and river otters here. It's crazy. Yeah. There's that otter again. The return of the salmon and the ability for salmon to live here and complete their life cycles here really indicates that this place has come a long way since it was used as a town dump. They can absolutely turn around for the better.
Love that. Of course, it's not just the fish that suffer when waterways get polluted. David Schechter is in Philadelphia with a preview of tonight's CBS Evening News.
Raw sewage, overdevelopment, climate change. We have done so much in this country to mess up our rivers. What can we do to fix them? Eye on America, tonight on the CBS Evening News.
After the sun broke through for a little while, we're starting to see the fog reforming at the Golden Gate. Temperatures today were significantly cooler inland compared to Monday, with the warmest spots only struggling up to around 70 degrees in San Jose. Another cool, breezy day tomorrow, but some changes for Easter weekend. Details coming up in the First Alert forecast.
Well, despite the little snafu car fire on the bridge and traffic backed up, that was a beautiful shot of the Bay Bridge.
Yes, hopefully things gradually returning closer to normal.
Yes, a little bit of traffic, but other than that, a nice smooth ride weather-wise.
Coming in this afternoon, like getting off, going west of the Bay Bridge, getting off and seeing all the traffic, like what happened underneath?
Something happened.
Yeah, exactly. So let's hope for more normalcy as we go through the day tomorrow. We're kind of back to a normal weather pattern. Let's take a look at the details of how things are going to shape up as we head through the next couple of days. Looking out from Sutro Tower, and there is the cloud cover beginning to reform. We are going to see cool, breezy conditions again on Wednesday. A very slight chance of a couple of showers here and there, but it's such a slight chance, it's barely worth mentioning. Warming up again on Friday, and then pleasant conditions as we head into Easter weekend. Temperatures running pretty close to normal around the bay and along the coast, but a few degrees above average farther inland by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here's a different perspective looking towards the coast, and again, Sutro Tower seeing some of that cloud cover around it, but we're still seeing a mix of clouds and sunshine at worst. Temperatures right now, anywhere from the upper 50s to the low to mid 60s. Not a whole lot of variation at the moment, but just substantially cooler, and it feels even cooler than the air temperatures because of the breeze that kicked in today. That rain chance is going to remain minimal, but we are going to see more fog developing as we head through the rest of tonight. Here's a look at Futurecast on the floor map, and we're seeing that fog pushing across the bay as we head through the overnight hours, especially after midnight. Low cloud cover in the inland valleys to begin the day on Wednesday. Won't take too long for that cloud cover to break up at ground level, but like today, we're going to see more layers of clouds higher up in the atmosphere, and that means that this warm up is going to be slow to kick in. From a pretty normal start early in the day, temperatures are going to begin in the upper 40s and low 50s. 51 degrees in San Jose, 52 in Fremont, a couple of the warmer spots. A lot of upper 40s on the map at 52 in Oakland and San Francisco as well. Our usual cool spots in the North Bay valleys, only dipping down into the upper 40s, pretty much the same as everybody else. But you are going to be cooler tomorrow. Santa Rosa only got up to 59 degrees for a high today. I think you'll beat that by a couple degrees tomorrow, but low 60s, running about 3 or 4 degrees below normal. Only beating 60 degrees by 1 degree in San Francisco and staying in the mid to upper 50s along the coast. Even the warm spots far east of the Oakland Hills struggling up to around 70 degrees and just short of 70 degrees for a high temperature in San Jose as well. Pretty similar temperatures, maybe a degree or two warmer on Thursday, and then we warm up to a greater extent as we hit the end of the work week on Friday. The winds are still going to be a factor tomorrow. Those wind gusts are going to be strongest during the afternoon, so we're looking every 6 hours here as the data kind of updates on the fly. from tomorrow into Thursday, but there's more of these orange tiles indicating the 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts throughout the day tomorrow. Thursday, not as many of those. So the wind begins to back down a little bit, and that's when the temperatures are going to start to warm up into the low to mid 70s inland by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the warmest days are going to be Monday and Tuesday into the upper 70s for highs before we go down the other side of the temperature roller coaster. And it just occurs to me that I forgot to put our dog walking forecast in the sequence. So we'll show you that at 7 o'clock. We have a handsome adoptable dog in the forecast. We'll have that for you around 7:15 this evening. Don't want to forget about the adoptable pups. Coastal forecast, temperatures do warm up a little bit once the sun breaks through late this week, but talking about a mix of upper 50s and low 60s through the duration of the 7-day forecast. Temperatures around the bay do warm up back into the upper 60s. The warmest day on Monday is cracking 70 degrees by 1 degree, but it counts. And the temperatures inland warming up to a greater extent. Again, upper 70s by Monday and Tuesday after a very pleasant Easter weekend. No interference from Mother Nature for whatever your Easter plans are. Again, that dog walking forecast coming up at 7. I hate when I forget to hit the little check mark to put that in there.
Boss wants to talk to you right now.
The boss is
Not happy
the
about
adoptable dog.
That's
I'm
right.
following his orders.
Okay,
Yeah.
7 o'clock,
Yes.
we will see that adoptable
Exactly.
dog. Okay, good deal. Thank you. When we come back, we're counting down to tip-off as the Warriors get set for a play-in tournament showdown against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
The Golden State Warriors are looking to punch their ticket to the playoffs tonight with a win against the Memphis Grizzlies. So here is video of Steph Curry warming up just a few minutes ago. Look at that. And boom, the Warriors have won 3 of their 4 games. And boom, against the Grizzlies this season. I should be an announcer. So including their latest matchup in Memphis when Curry scored 52 points. Look, he's on fire right now. And right now the Warriors are 6.5-point favorites. And there you go. Fans are starting to pack Chase Center and bars around Thrive City for the matchup. One fan telling us he thinks the key tonight will be a player who got benched in the team's last game.
I believe that they'll win if Kuminga plays. If he doesn't, they're going to lose. A part of the reason is Steph's hand is messed up. Jimmy's now messed up his leg. So they need that other person to be able to play defense, but also to play a little offense by driving in to make the basket.
All right. Okay, so here's what's at stake tonight. If the Warriors win, they'll play the number 2 seed Houston Rockets in the first round. If they lose tonight, they're not done quite yet. They'll have a do-or-die game Friday against Dallas or Sacramento. But if they lose that game, which they won't, their season would be over, which it won't. And if the Warriors lose tonight but win on Friday, their reward will be a first-round series against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who had the best record in the entire NBA this season. Tip-off tonight at 7 o'clock. Got all that? All right, CBS Evening News with Maurice Dubois and John Dickerson is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back right here in 30 minutes with more news just for you at 7 o'clock. See you then.